I see a few. Addiction went bananas after the pandemic. Mental health issues. I mean, we just know we're social creatures. Babies that are abused do better than babies that are isolated and have their needs met, but aren't connected to anyone. So you saw mental health go up, you saw addiction go up. I really worry. I see a lot of people making money online, and I'm not mad at that. But like the OnlyFans stuff, and with my background in human trafficking, I'm not talking about the person that's deciding to make money on their own. Now, I'm not demonizing that or shaming that. I just know there are people behind the cameras often that are not choosing this on their own. They're doing it for drug money. They're doing it because they're being threatened that, now that the moratorium on evictions is up, they have a landlord or somebody letting them crash there that's saying, take off your clothes and you can stay here. That's all human trafficking. Anytime there's a financial issue or there's a social upheaval that leaves some people hurting, there's somebody there to monetize that. And that definitely happened here. It happened with human trafficking. It happened with drug addiction. It just helped people gain more control and have more avenues to profit off people's suffering. And with the people that I work with, getting people into rehab is one thing, but trying to get people into trauma-informed or trauma-specific programs, because a lot of times it's so much more complicated if you've been trafficked, or if as a child you were sexually abused, it just affects your recovery. I try to get people into both of those systems, but they're separate systems usually, especially if you don't have good insurance or the ability to private pay. That stuff doesn't get touched. Just a story on that. I had a woman who went into her drug and alcohol counselor. She had Medicaid, and she was African American. And she had a flashback immediately prior to going to this woman of her father molesting her. And it was visceral. It was tactile feelings. And she went into this woman absolutely just heightened fight-flight response, unable to be comfortable in her own skin. And the woman said, listen, we're going to put that in a box. I need to do your paperwork. That's the difference between somebody that has Medicaid or county funding for their treatment stay and somebody that's able to go to Betty Ford Clinic, where they would have appropriately helped her de-escalate, process the trauma. So a lot of what I'm trying to do, especially post the pandemic, is try to piecemeal what people need but don't have the resource for. And thankfully there are different groups I can almost do that with, but it's challenged.
I wish we could figure out the one thing that could just solve all, just make it all go away. But you and I both know that that's actually not going to solve the problem. It would immediately fix some of that surfacey pain, but it's not going to actually fix the problem. What's the thing, though, that could fix the problem? And I know that it's people, and it's the people, but what's the main thing that you think is kind of the lesson for us to take from this whole debacle that's happened?
Treatment needs to do the things that we know work, even if it's expensive, and even if it cuts into a profit margin. And that's hard, and nobody really wants to do that. So in lieu of that, we have to be very grassroots. And people that have suffered in these ways, coming out and saying, I was molested. When I make that statement, because I am a survivor of child molestation, it has an impact on people, especially men, because we tend not to share that. So being able to share that experience, strength, and hope through grassroots opportunities, creating groups where men, women, survivors in general, trans community can come together and process this ourselves, being willing to share resources online that aren't monetized or that aren't monetized by the person we're helping, so that we can just get it and use it. I love what you're doing because you're trying to help men learn how to be resilient without being false, how to actually, be empowered and know their power without the facade and the mask. And I think that's a lot of, just as a culture, what men need to heal. It's not about being a tough guy. It's not, I told you I was raised to be a sociopath. That was a man. It's about dropping the masks, sharing the vulnerability, and realizing there's more strength in that, in sharing vulnerability with other men so that we can all heal collectively and share in each other's strength, than running from it and acting like a tough guy.